Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, can you please give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to comment below, leave your thoughts and your opinions. So in today's video, I'm going to revisit the R. Kelly scandal. So I actually made a video about this situation a little while ago, and it just seems like ever since I made that video, it's a new event, a new story every single freaking day. And just to be honest, guys, it's just horrible. Like, the stories are horrible. I mean, R. Kelly has a very bad reputation for just horrible reputation. It's a lot of this stuff is all revolving around underage girls, teenage girls. Obviously at this point, he is a predator. Obviously, he's a predator. He's a narcissist. He abuses, manipulates, and bullies his victims. And the funny thing about these stories is that a lot of this, a lot of you all can relate to this. I feel like a lot of people have understanding and firsthand experiences with predators. Some of you have predators in your families. Some of you, your children, or, your other family members, someone that has been taken advantage of and, abused sexually. And it's not a good feeling to hear these accusations. They're very strong accusations, and they kind of just keep on repeating and repeating and repeating. It's like history repeating itself for a lot of you guys. I know these stories. My oldest sister was telling me a lot about this, and R. Kelly is more so someone she was someone she was raised up on, listening to, and things of that nature. And she knows a lot of this stuff that happened, like, I think in the 90s. So I just, it's like what is going on? How can we make sense of all of this? It's horrible. But the stories, like I said, they're horrible. And a lot of people, the backlash, a lot of his R. Kelly's supporters, he got a lot of supporters. That's how it always is for predators. They're going to have people that just don't believe nothing that's going on. They believe you're trying to take a man down. They believe he's innocent. They believe he's a good person. And why would all these women, my God, why are all these women doing this to this nice, talented man? They just want all of his fine luxurious lifestyles, his jewelry, his money, his his everything he has, his nice houses and cars. Yes, he has so much money. They just want everything. They're just gonna let's make up this story. Let's all band together and let's just take him down. My God, come on, guys, like, come on now. This is the furthest thing from the truth. I mean, obviously, this situation is about seduction, power, and manipulation. It has been the whole time. Sex, money, drugs, It's a scandal. The most, I think, the thing that just bothers me the most, and with a lot of people are kind of, the media is kind of it's just so out of control. It's a circus. But the thing that bothers me, one of the things that bothers me the most is the sex tape with the young girl and the urinating. I mean, it was just such a savage act. It was just so horrible. I never forget that, a 30-year-old man sleeping with a 14-year-old girl. And I understand people saying, well, he got off. It's just not about him getting off. It's just the fact he still did it. Like, everybody knows he did it. The justice system is not always, I don't think of it as like a fair system. Like, oh, just because you did something wrong, you're going to jail. It's not the most fair system in the world. So I mean, you can never totally rely on that system. It's so many it's just so many people that are going to do things that are guilty and that get off, and then there's some people that are not guilty and they're in prison. So it's a very backward system. It's not something that you can totally rely on and use that as your reasoning to justify some of your actions or some of your thoughts. You can't rely that on the justice system like that. Everybody knows it's so many people that got off, the OJs and the, just different people. I mean, it doesn't mean just because R. Kelly beat those charges last time that he didn't do it. I mean, we all saw the sex tape. I mean, some of you didn't, but yeah, I did, and I didn't. Obviously, it was a while ago. You know what I'm saying? So it's just so crazy. It was just so confusing. It's so confusing. A lot of people don't understand. You're confused. I understand that, and that's why I said don't get too caught up relying on the justice system, because they fail us too, just like any other system. Every system has flaws in it, but it definitely does not mean that just because he beat those charges that he wasn't that guy in that sex tape, because he was. It's just so crazy that we're here today. He never got held accountable for those actions. I think at this point his victims do, they just want him to be punished. It's nothing wrong with wanting somebody to be punished for doing something to you, taking advantage of you. It's not a fun thing, for young women, and a lot of young women have been raped, So listen to these stories sit near and dear to people, because a lot of young women have been raped by older men, have been, sexually abused, whether you've been touched or, any type of, sexual abuse. And a lot of y'all men too. I'm not sexist or anything like that. A lot of y'all men have been abused by women. They're just as pedophiles too. That are women that are mess with young boys. I'm seeing all types of things. I feel like, I've seen things in the news. I've read articles, and it goes both ways. So it's it doesn't matter at this point. It doesn't matter. But I personally would like to see him held accountable for his actions. But I mean, the sex tape thing, that's like the strongest thing, that it was just horrible. I mean, that is, child abuse, that's sexual abuse, that's rape, that's, indecent liberties with a child. I mean, it's just horrible. I mean, I don't think no man that's 30 years old need to be sleeping with a 14-year-old girl. That's not even, like, in the playing fields. That's not even. Now, the law says 18, but I still feel like, they should be somewhat more around the same age. But, that's just my opinions, I'm just talking about the law. So if the law says 18, then 18 is what everybody should abide by. But this man obviously went lower than 18, obvious to the preteens. I mean, some of you have brothers and sisters around that age, and you could not imagine R. Kelly perverted ass messing with your, teenage, sister. I mean, some of you would actually take him out. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. Some people would not put up for that. They would find him, and it wouldn't be any more R. Kelly. So all of these other allegations, beyond the sex tape, I'm gonna say allegedly, just in case they try to make a big deal about this video, because how things are nowadays. But allegedly, all these allegations. But anyway, the other thing I found disturbing was more disturbing about the case was, let me think, you had that sex tape, and then you had the Aaliyah. How can I forget that? That was just, oh man, that was horrible in itself. Everybody liked it, Aaliyah. She was so beautiful and talented, and you just think about it now, and you just look back to those old interviews, and you just see it. You see how he was, preying on her. I mean, you see that, things were taking place that shouldn't have taken place. It's obvious now. And now that we have the story, you understand it. And now we have the court documents that show that she was 15 years old when he married her. So this is another victim. So this is a pattern right here. This is a pattern, and all narcissists, all pedophiles have a pattern. You know what I'm saying? So this is what brings me to today's time in 18, 19, 16, and 2017. The Joycelynsavages and the AzrielClarys, this is what people are so, frantic about. This is why they're, concerned about these girls and trying to make sure, like, we know they're being manipulated. We know they're being, taken advantage of by an older guy. I mean, his pattern, is just not good. So, a zebra doesn't change its stripes, and these animals, pedophiles, they don't, they're predators. They don't change. They never change. Like, they do the same thing. They can be in their 60s and 70s and still attracted to young girls. That's what I've seen, plenty of stories about guys like that. And I'm just like, ew. Like, I'm grossed out just like anybody else. Like, I'm disgusted and disturbed just like anybody else. I'm thinking to myself, a 7-year-old man is messing with a 5 or 6-year-old, even younger than, what R. Kelly was, messing around with. And it's just like, oh my God, you just sitting here thinking like, how could this happen? How could this happen? But these people have a whole history of doing things, and it's so hard for the victims to speak out. It's hard, it's hard, I can imagine these victims are very embarrassed. First of all, you're too embarrassed to tell your mom or your dad, yeah, he raped me, How can you tell your parents that? It's going to break your parents' heart. It's going to be a lot, and it's hard, it's hard to talk to people about that. That's what a lot of the people that are supporting R. Kelly don't understand. It's hard to tell somebody that you've been raped. That's like a very hard thing to do. So you're trying to get past that, how to talk. And sometimes it's just better. I mean, sometimes the victims feel better just not saying anything because, it's just so shocking, and you never had nobody take advantage of you like that. Because to my understanding, I listened to the Joycelynsavage tape, the voicemail, and she was talking about the first meeting with R. Kelly. She was going to an audition, and he basically just exposed himself. No, actually, I'm sorry, I got it backwards. He told her to take off all her clothes. So she going, excited, going to go sing, and she flies all the way out there. Everybody's thing set up, and she go to the hotel room thinking she's going to do, just a little audition for some music or whatever. And just imagine going in there and somebody just saying, take your clothes off. And as a young girl like that who's very, inexperienced, when you're young, a lot of people are not saying that young people are stupid. We're just saying that, they're inexperienced, 16, 17, 18 versus like a 28 or 29-year-old woman. I mean, it's a big gap. You're just inexperienced. And if you've never been like, that's like a proposition and you just don't really know, you're thinking that, okay, I'm already out here. What do I do? It's shocking. Can you imagine being in a situation like that? It's like, I'm going to let my parents down. I'm not going to be able to get this deal. We're not going to be able to be rich or famous. How do I, for a young girl, that's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of pressure right there to be in a situation like that. And you wasn't expecting that. So I can see why young girls may just go ahead and do that. May just go ahead and undress. And then he's going to, of course, as soon as he realizes he got you, he going to go to the next step, which is, from what I've heard from the stories, is sex. So it is very horrible. He should have been punished a long time ago. And I can definitely, I definitely feel for the victims, the true victims. And I know another thing people have been saying is that not all of them are victims. Some of them are coming for money and, this, that, the third. That may be true, but it'll all come out. I'm not going to sit here and say that, I know everything. I'm just going by, what the proof was and his pattern that I already see. I'm going by the court documents and the old sex tapes, and all of it does equal up to a disaster. If you want to be honest about it, all of it does add up. It's just people don't start being a pedophile just one day overnight, and then if you do some education and some researches about predators and pedophiles, and you'll understand that when they have a horrible childhood like R. Kelly had, you'll understand that this is what, this is the direction that a lot of them go in. Not everybody that's been, abused as a child is going to turn around and be a rapist, but it's just research. Based on research, they say that a lot of people that have traumatic childhoods like that, like R. Kelly had, they turn around to be, rapists and stuff. And I said, again, not everybody, for people that, are going to attack and disagree with me or whatever. So it does add up. All of these things, it just adds up. That's why a lot of people are, in today's time, saying things about the Joycelynsavages and the Azriels. We look at them as victims, and we look at them as victims like that don't know they're victims. We look at them as codependents, and They really don't understand the type of situation that they're in. I know they see some things we won't know. We won't never know everything that they're going through unless they decide to speak up one day like everybody else. Maybe they'll speak up 10 years from now. Maybe they'll come out and tell their stories. But right now, they are under his control. And it's like, I've also heard somebody say, well, they could just leave. They could have left while he was in jail. What do you mean control? It's not like that. It's a whole process. It's mind manipulation. I'm not saying he's a magician or nothing. It's a whole process. And you may not never understand how manipulation works. It's a whole bunch of tactics that narcissists use. Just lying. They don't just straight out lie to you, but they do lie to you straightforward, but it's like a lot of manipulation tactics that they use, like gaslighting, blame shifting. They'll blame you for things when things are going wrong. And, that lowers your self-esteem. It's an abusive relationship. It's not all physical. Some of it's just mental and emotional abuse, Just imagine somebody sitting here telling you something happened that didn't happen, or, I know you'll say, well, I would just tell them that didn't happen. They're lying. But, if you love that person, it might not be that easy. They'll tell you how they feel, and then they'll project bad things onto you that they actually did. They might say they believe you cheating on them when they're the ones that cheating on you. And it's just a whole bunch of things that it's hard for a lot of people to understand unless you've been through it. You'll never understand abuse like that unless you've been through it. So this is exactly what everybody, pretty much believes these girls are going through. They're going through because, again, predators don't change. They don't have an awakening and just go to church and say, oh, I'm not touching younger people no more. I'm not attracted to them no more. I've changed my life. No, these people are still attracted to these young kids, and it's a sickness. It's perversion. They shouldn't be attracted to anybody that young, because why not have somebody around your same age that you can do these, be sexual with? Why does it have to be that young? That's how it's a sickness, So back to, like I said, the Joycelynsavages, about that recording out. I'm pretty sure they're going to use that for court. And, where she talks about going the first time meeting him. Apparently she told some of her friends or whatever that he told her to take her clothes off. So, and everybody can tell she's young, she's inexperienced. And some people believe she's actually kind of mentally slow. And it's different levels for a lot of people. It's different levels of being mentally slow. It doesn't mean you're dumb or retarded or special ed, but it could mean that you're not the best with making decisions on your own, that you don't know how to really handle pressure, or just being mentally slow. Sometimes some of those people are in special education. They just don't grasp a lot of things quickly as other people do. It takes them a while, or it takes them longer. Just everybody has different levels of IQ and, things of that nature. But a lot of people believe Joycelyn is a little mentally slow, just from her interview, just from her not saying much, and just kind of copycatting off of what Azriel was saying, just being a copycat. She doesn't strike a lot of people as being a leader. She seems more to be like a follower. So those are a lot of the, that's what a lot of mentally slow people, that's kind of how they are. That's in their nature to be, just a little bit more of a follower, a lot of them. And a lot of them have, you'll have to do your research, but you can just kind of, you can kind of tell. You can kind of see from her, the way she talks, a lot of people wouldn't consider her to be, the smartest cookie, But, a lot of things that disturb people about that. The whole interview was disturbing for me. As soon as I watched it, I said, yeah, R. Kelly's a narcissist. I mean, all the crocodile tears and stuff, I mean, you could just see right through him. You could just see right through him. He's crying for sympathy, and he wants to be the victim. But he can't be the victim because it's actually real victims. It's actually people that were taken advantage by you. Like, you're not the victim. You can't be the victim, man. You cannot be that, because you victimize other people. So you may have been a victim in your childhood, but right now as an adult, you're not that, So it was just a lot of manipulation in that interview. It was disturbing. And just when I saw him cry, I said, yeah, he's a narcissist. When I see him just projecting everything onto everybody else and just lying and trying to twist stuff around and kept on changing, just changing, trying to change the subject and deflect. And it was just so many signs. And you have to study narcissism to understand these are their favorite tools, their favorite weapons to use. And, it was crazy. But another victim that I think about is Lisa Van Allen, about her story, how she mentioned she was 17 and, having a relationship with him, and how the first time she met him, it was just sex in the trailer. And I was just thinking, like, it's all these patterns of sex with him. Like, that's how you know he's a predator. I mean, he is so hypersexual. It is, it's retarded. You know what I'm saying? Why do you need this much sex? It's sex, sex, and sex, and sex all the time with victims on the first night, and from what I'm hearing, he doesn't use protection. So, I mean, he's just hypersexual. So I do believe the herpes allegations as well. I mean, you're going to catch something when you're around the town like that. When you're out and about like that, why wouldn't you not catch something? I mean, are you like God? No, you're not God. So you're going to catch something if you're being out and about like that, sleeping with that many different people. So it's, the Lisa Van Allen is the one that I've seen, more so in the media. And I guess they use her a lot because she's the one that's kind of carrying herself pretty well. She does carry herself well. She does speak very well. And her story was the first one that actually really was out, that the public really understood. Other than, I think the Aaliyah thing was first, but then her story was the first one that just came out about exposing, what was going on with the court case and all that. So they use her for, all the main popular TV shows and, Vlad TV and everybody's been using this girl. She's like, but I think about her. She, she's been calm telling her story and, about her ex, her threesomes and with the 14-year-old. And there we go again. It's like a 14-year-old and a 17-year-old. He should not be attracted to these young girls that age. It's a sickness. Because, the truth is that you could have women your age, just like Hugh Hefner. I think he had, older women and stuff in that house. And I'm pretty sure women your age would, do the things that these young girls, or whatever you had with these young girls going on sexually. It's just, you don't have to go that far and get somebody young like that, man. So if you're attracted to that, if that's all you want, that's all more than likely what you seem to want. And I know it's a few older women he dealt with, but most of them were just young. But if that's his main focus, is being attracted to young girls, then yeah, he needs to go to jail for that, because he did break the law and he violated. He should never did that. And I can only imagine how those people feel, their parents feel. I can imagine how terrible you feel as a parent to see your child getting raped or abused by older men. I think it's so hard, because just sex and you wanted your child to actually grow and be grown enough to make those decisions, but a predator took that away. They took that right away from your child by manipulating them and brainwashing them into sex. So brainwashing is a process. Again, it's not just a one thing that people do. It's from a very skilled predator. That's why they call predators, because they skilled at what they do. They skilled at how to get to their prey of the things that they want, the people that they want. They brainwash, manipulate them and get them to believe in them. So guys like R. Kelly, to them, women are puppets, and they use their perversion skills to get these women in line and to do what they want them to do. It's just horrible, guys. Again, I really feel sorry for the victims, and I hope they get the justice they deserve. But hopefully he doesn't get off this time. Hopefully the evidence is really strong, and everything. I know he's probably going to have lawyers and something on all of his victims too as well. I know he's building up a real strong case, because this thing is really big. I mean, the FBI is involved, and the FBI don't play, honey. Once you got the FBI involved, everything gonna come out. They need evidence. They go by so many things, like phone records, details, times, dates. I mean, they are digging into this case. They are digging, and this is a very big case. So it's, it just goes to show, R. Kelly is not the only, predator that was very famous and talented and gifted with, a talent. He's not the only one. It's plenty others. There was Elvis. There was Bill Cosby. It's just so many others like that haven't been held accountable for their actions. But I hope at some point, they stop playing their music and stuff too. Let's just get this all taken care of and straightened out in our society so our kids can be safe and let them grow and mature. And then when they decide to, be, sexually active with the person that they choosing, their choice, it's their own choice, they can do that. And nobody can take that right from them, So, again, like I said, it's a process that these guys use, these predators, and I'm tired of everybody defending them. I've seen some horrible comments and stuff, and it's really making people harder for people to speak out. But I'm glad that about this whole movement and everything too, because it's helping a lot of other people to speak out and come forward and tell their story. So this is why it's so hard. Again, it's so hard for victims to speak out and tell their stories, because it's embarrassing. It's damn right embarrassing. Who wants to sit there in front of everybody in a freaking courtroom and tell intimate details of what this person did, how they did it, if they made you give them oral sex, or if they gave you herpes? I mean, it takes a lot of courage to tell a story like that, because that is so embarrassing. It's so traumatizing, and everybody's gonna be looking at you. And I mean, I'm telling you guys, I can't imagine how hard it is to, come out and tell your story like that. So just, and this is another thing on my mind. Just imagine somebody, just to give you an example of how these guys manipulate younger girls. Just imagine somebody like Drake. He's real popular. He's, way younger than R. Kelly, obviously. Just imagine him, saying he's going to, let your daughter or your sister or somebody or your audition for him. As soon as they get there, he, pulls out his, whatever, he pulls himself out. He exposes himself. So to a kid, or somebody who's very inexperienced with life, they're thinking like, wow, but this is Drake. I don't want to I don't want to say no. What do I do? That's like, a very tough situation. So just imagine. So these are the things that R. Kelly did to people. Just imagine a Drake doing something like that. And your kid is thinking, or your sister or your brother, your sister is thinking that, I don't want to let my family down. We need money. What do I do? That's a lot of pressure. Like a lot of pressure for a young, inexperienced person. So they might think that it's the best option they got at that time to sleep with that person, when that's never the best option for something like that. So this is kind of how this thing works, with people like R. Kelly. They, predators know what to do, when to do it, how to do it. This is kind of exactly how it works. They're going to expose themselves and, just kind of manipulate and use their power. They know they have power. They know that's what you're there for. I mean, I'm not saying that a predator is totally stupid. He knows that, you need him for something. So they're going to proposition you and, see what a younger, inexperienced person is going to do. So it's not fair. That's why I hope, this can send a message to a lot of these guys that, find themselves attracted to young people, to go get some help, to get those thoughts out of your head, out of your mind. Go get some therapy. Just go get some help, because this is not the way you should be thinking. You can get yourself someone your age and have your fun. That's legal and, whatever. But keep your hands off of the children. Keep your hands off of the underage people, the underage teens. Keep your hands off of them. They're not there yet, and leave them alone and move on. So hopefully this sending a message. So that's the good thing. That's another positive thing about this whole movement and, the scandal. Hopefully to send a message to these guys to, you can't get away with everything no more. It's out here. Everybody's going to find out, and you're going to go to jail if you don't keep your hands off of the children. But I do hope, that Joycelynsavage and Azriel just go home. You know, this guy is going to jail. It looks like he's going to jail, and I hope he does, but just go home. His finances are dwindling, and it's just not worth it, you know. I hope they go home to their families and just move on and live a normal life, and I'm pretty sure their families will forgive them. I know they just, you know, haven't seen them. You know, just imagine not seeing your young kid, you know, that's 19, 18, 20, 21, and you haven't seen them in 3 years. You know, that's not fair. That's not a healthy relationship. Because in a healthy relationship, you should be able to see your family. Why do you have to stop seeing your family just because you're in a relationship with somebody? Why? I mean, that's how you know it's not a good thing, you know. And then the whole three-way thing, I don't really go for that stuff. I couldn't do it, you know. It's just too much for me. But the whole three-way thing that they're claiming they're in, it's just too much. I couldn't do it. But if they call it a relationship, I don't call it a relationship. I just call it a sexual. I call it a situationship. I call it a situationship. That's not no relationship, you know. I feel like, you know, two people should be together, man and woman, loving each other, you know, faithful to each other, monogamous, and all of that stuff is it's just a lot, you know. And I'm hearing that there's other women in the house currently besides Azriel and Jocelyn, and these are just the only two that they're really showing in the media. So it's a hard pill to swallow. This whole thing is very hard to swallow, and my point is that it seems like a lot of these guys get away with everything. You know, it seems like a lot of them do get away. It seems like it's so hard, and it seems like it's so hard for victims to get their justice. That's why some people just don't say anything. They don't want to go through all this media stuff. They don't want to be in the news. Some people don't say anything. They can't handle all of this stuff because they might break and commit suicide or harm themselves because they can't deal with all this backlash and stuff. And, you know, some people don't believe you. Some people do believe you. That's why some victims just never say anything, and the guy gets away with it. So it seems like a lot of these predators do get away, and a lot of them have gotten away with stuff. You know, R. Kelly should have never got away this long, 20-something, 30-something years of doing this stuff. You know, using his celebrity, using his lifestyle, his money, his clothes, his jewelry, his homes to, you know, manipulate people and to use people and use young girls for sex, you know. I don't agree with that. I don't like the idea. It's hard to talk about a lot of this stuff, but I would really like to know what you guys think about all of this. Do you have any anything you like to share with me? Tell me any experiences or, you know, anything that you may have been through or whatever. Let's talk about it. So I'm going to pretty much wrap up this video, you guys, and please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video, you guys. And yeah, guys, see you soon.